Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hungarian GP. We have a lot to talk about, so let's just get right into it. So I'm gonna do things a bit differently-ish. Let's just start off with free practice one. So yeah, it's great to be back in our final race weekend before the break. So the cars kind of had a bit of an issue on track with, a few drivers spitting out, a few crashes. I believe I heard there was some changes to the track, which I do believe made the drivers struggle a little bit. But Charles Leclerc goes fastest in FP1, followed by Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, it's great to see Max Verstappen doing well, even though he did have some issues which we will talk about. It's good to see him maybe getting grips with the car, with Isaac Hadjar going fourth fastest, followed by George Russell, Gabriel Bortoleto, and for this practice session, Frederick Vesti took over for Kimi Antonelli in the Mercedes. Moving in to free practice 2, Ferrari dominance with Lewis Hamilton getting fastest, Charles Leclerc in second, and Lando Norris in third fastest. But with Max Verstappen getting fourth, so a bit of consistency for Max Verstappen so far, with George Russell in fifth fastest and Isaac Hadjar in sixth fastest. Now I noticed Kimi Antonelli didn't too well, only going 13th fastest, being nearly 2 seconds behind, which is kind of crazy to see. And then in FP3, Lando Norris goes fastest, Lewis Hamilton in second, and Kimi Antonelli finding his pace once again, getting himself in third. Followed by Charles Leclerc in fourth, Oscar Piastri in fifth, George Russell in sixth, Max Verstappen kind of a bit more down, followed by his teammate Isaac Hadjar, Liam Lawson and Nico Hulkenberg. Alex Albon locking up, Lance Stroll having a bit of a bad spin, but the car was okay. Carlos Sainz locking up, and then in FP2, Oscar Piastri running a bit wide on turn 11, Alex Albon having a bit of a lift, and Franco Colapinto having a bad crash, which sent him into the wall. Red flags went out, thankfully he was okay. Kimi Antonelli locking up, Lando Norris, with both McLarens now going off track. And overall, such a very interesting practice session. Now, as well as that, Aston Martin did get some major upgrades, and you'll see how that worked out for one of the drivers in just a moment. And speaking of, let's move on to qualifying. As always, we're going to start at the bottom and make our way up to the top. Just kind of have a bit of an eye out if you notice a driver missing from this first list of drivers. Both of the Cadillacs with Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas, Lance Stroll, both of the Williams with Alexander Albon and Carlos Sainz, and Oliver Behrman. Now you'll notice one driver in the Aston Martin getting through Q2. That is right, Fernando Alonso makes his way into Q2, and he was putting on an amazing lap, and towards the end it looked like he would have gone into Q3, but unfortunately he was pushed all the way down to P16. So Fernando Alonso making his way for, I believe, the first time this season, making his way into Q2, which is amazing to see. Notice how the upgrades work for one driver but not the other. But with Esteban Ocon, Gabriel Bortoleto, both of the Alpines with Franco Colapinto and Pierre Gasly, Liam Lawson unfortunately not making their way into Q1, and just squeezing their way in, Nico Hulkenberg, Arvid Lindblad, Isaac Hadjar, George Russell, Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Kimi Antonelli. Now Kimi Antonelli did get a grid penalty for, I believe, track limits, which did push him down to 6th. Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, who was bumped down to P5, and then Lando Norris gets pole. So that makes our starting grid for the top 10. Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Kimi Antonelli, so I got those mixed up, I do apologize, Isaac Hadjar, Arvid Lindblad, and Nico Hulkenberg. So overall, a really interesting qualifying. As well as that, during the qualifying, both of the Red Bulls spun out, with Isaac Hadjar spinning out towards the beginning / halfway point, but he was able to continue, but obviously it messed up his lap. Then towards the end, Max Verstappen had a bad spin, which caused a yellow flag, which did mess up some of the drivers' time. So this grid could have looked a bit different if Max didn't spin out, but Max still got P4. So now let's move on to the race itself. And what a race it was. The final race before the summer break has just ended, and while I'm disappointed, there were some good moments, so I guess let's just get right into it. So starting off, we had 3 DNFs, both for the Cadillac. Max having issues with their car, with Bottas getting severe smoke from the car. Actually, when he was coming to pit lane, he had to use the pit wall to slow his car down. And Perez, his car just went badly off track, which I forget exactly what happened, but it caused the car to just slow down and stop. And then Oscar Piastri, he had some rough corners and the gearbox just completely shut down. Really sad to see. I was hoping Oscar would do well. I guess for another McLaren driver, things went quite well. Then we have a lot of lapped cars. So with 2 laps down, we have Oliver Behrman, both the Williams, with smooth operator Carlos Sainz and Alexander Albon, Esteban Ocon, and Franco Colapinto. Followed by the 1 lap, we have Fernando Alonso, who actually went up to P14. Yeah! So there was actually a point in the race where Fernando Alonso was P10, and hopefully this means some good things for the future with him. And Lance Stroll, who somehow finished P13. How did that happen? Pierre Gasly, Gabriel Bortoletto, Arvid Lindblad, Nico Hulkenberg, and Liam Lawson, all being 1 lap down, with the 3 drivers in the top 10. Then we had George Russell, who finished 7th. He had a very, very bad start, having a anti-stall on his car, which put him all the way down to the bottom of the grid. So he had to climb his way all the way back up. He just went down. All the cars just went right ahead of him, but he finished in 7th, which, I mean, he did a good drive. We have Isaac Hadjar, Lewis Hamilton, who got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, which meant Charles Leclerc was able to get in 4th. And then our top 3, Kimi Antonelli gets 3rd. Really, I mean, it's a good, very, very good position for Kimi. I do believe there was a virtual safety car which really did mess up Kimi. I do believe he probably could have got 2nd. And Max Verstappen gets 2nd. So great to see. Then we have Lando Norris in 1st. But yeah, overall, a great race. A few other things that I forgot to mention, with Alexander Albon going off track, Lando Norris going off track, I believe, twice. Behrman had a very bad spin. His car span out. He was able to recover, but still a lot of lost time there. Behrman actually got a 5-second penalty for ignoring blue flags, which, wow. And then something quite funny, during the broadcast, at least on Sky Sports, the broadcast kind of glitched out. There was a bit of a black screen for a few seconds. It wasn't anything to do with anything because the standings were still up, but it was quite funny. But anyway, that was it. That was the Hungarian GP. And I will say, what a good race. Very disappointing with Lando Norris winning. I hate him. I'm sorry. He was such a cock today during the race. So I guess we're his number. He'll get 1 win. Let's hope this never happens again. A one-off thing. So let me comment down below what you guys think of the race. Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? And what are your plans for the summer break? I'm gonna try find some content to do. Not sure what I'll do, but I'll figure something out. Thank you so much for watching. We're gonna end that very short video. I'm sorry if I went a bit too quickly and everything. If I did, time in the comments down below. And please subscribe to Fashion, hit the bell, subscribe to TL Racing. Follow Twitter and Instagram at TL Racing F1. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.